Well, God bless you one and all, and welcome back to the Bishop's Corner. And of course, my name is Bishop Dr. Herbert N. Scott, the chief prelate of the Liberty Hall Cathedral of Praise, right here in the heart of Brooklyn. And certainly tonight, we do want to shout out to the man who have made all of this possible, known as Dr. Phil. Okay, Philip Reed, we thank God for you, sir, and the great work that you are indeed doing. Well, tonight we want to thank God for the panel that we have. We thank God for once again, we have on tonight our Nancy Stingen. She's with us tonight. Can we make her feel welcome? Nancy, certainly it's a pleasure to have you once again on the Bishop's Corner. And for the first time, we don't want to thank the Lord for Melinda Brown, her first time coming on the Bishop's Corner. And certainly, young lady, it's indeed a pleasure to have you on the Bishop's Corner. Last but not least, we want to thank God for Pastor Carmel King Long, a woman of God that is well known. And let me say this, she is a power of strength to us. And we thank God for her. Can we make her feel welcome indeed? God bless you, woman of God. Well, tonight we have a very, very interesting subject that we are dealing with. The main subject tonight is woman's perspective. What do women think about most? What do women think about most? And I want these women tonight to be honest. Okay, I don't know how many men are listening in tonight, but we want to hear what women think about most. However, before we should go into that tonight and the questions, I would like you all to know what these women are all about. What do they do? What type of business are they involved in? So tonight we want to start with Nancy. Nancy, would you please share with us your business adventure?
Thank you so much, Bishop, for giving me this opportunity once again this week, and being with these wonderful, strong women makes me feel strong myself. So I am Nancy Stingone, and my business is Unique Corporate Gifting, and that is a business and personal gifting company. And my company supports other businesses, whether it's recognizing their clients or their employees and team members. And then, of course, on the personal side of your gifting, we should all take the time to send those true sentiments to your friends and family. And that could be for special occasions, birthdays, get well, sympathies, and weddings, babies. Babies are very popular. And my gifts share your love, joy, and happiness in it sends an experience to the people you love. And my gifts, I do deliver locally, and I ship nationwide. And it's all, again, about sharing your love, joy, and happiness. So thank you again for having me here. And I do have a tagline. I always say, if you want chic, call Unique. And I can be reached at 914-707-0192. And for inspiration, you can visit my website, which is www.uniquecorporategifting.com. And again, thank you for having me this evening.
Thank you indeed, Nancy. Certainly a pleasure, young lady, to have you on the Bishop's Corner. Now let's hear from Melinda. Melinda, how say you?
Hello, everyone. My name is Melinda Brown, and I'm in travel. So I'm your travel boss. What I do own a full service online travel agency, so I can send anyone from anywhere to do anything. However, in my business, I really teach people the tips and tricks of the travel industry so that you can actually travel better for less. 85% of people book their own travel, and as a result, you don't know how the industry actually works. There's profit built into most of what you're buying and paying probably too much for online. So I show you how to either put that profit in your pocket or save on your travel in the first place. And there's a million ways to benefit from the travel industry. So that's what I do in my business. I can be reached at meetmelindabrown.com. You also can give me a call or text me at 312-313-9307. So I'd love to chat and tell you all those tips and tricks about the industry. Thanks so much, Bishop.
Sounds good indeed, young lady. Thank you much. This time, let's hear from Pastor Carmel King Long. Woman of God, how say you?
Good evening to one and all. And I would say that for the most part, I would say the thing that I spend most of my time doing is pastoring. And second to that, in the regular workforce, I am a teacher for the last few decades.
For the last few decades. Woman of God, let me say this. If I see you driving, I'll pull you over and ask you for ID. Are you old enough to drive? Well, as I said, we have a very, very interesting topic that we're dealing with tonight. Main subject, woman's perspective. Okay, and the question that we want to start out is this. What do women really, really think about? Now, I'm hoping that you ladies will indeed be honest, because yours truly is a mind reader. So let's put that question first of all to Nancy. Nancy, how would you answer that question? What do women really, really think about?
Okay, so in my case, first and foremost, that I think of and support is my family, my husband, my children, my nieces and my nephew, in supporting them in their journeys. Because as our children grow and our relationships with our spouses or partners, we need each other's support. And on a day-to-day basis, that is the forefront on my mind. And then I go from there. Woohoo!
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Okay, well said indeed. Okay, those are words of wisdom, Nancy. Thank you very, very much. Okay, let's hear from Melinda at this time. Melinda, how say you?
Okay, so at this stage in my life, I also do have a background in ministry. And so right now, what's important to me is doing what God says to do. Building my relationship, making sure that my life lines up in His will, and in loving Him more, then He teaches me how to love others more. And now you can see, especially in the world today, we need to love others. And so, in thinking about increasing and deepening my relationship with the Lord, and then loving my family and anyone else God puts in my path. That is really what is very important to me and that I think about.
Thank you much, young lady. Okay, let's put that same question to Pastor Carmel King Long. Woman of God, how say you?
Well, good evening once again. And, my colleagues have all answered, pretty much tapped into the same thing that I would say. But I would just add to it to say, what do I not think about is a better question. I think my mind is like a smorgasbord, a big buffet of all different things interrupting my thoughts constantly. What I want to think about is definitely not what I think about. But I would say the thing that occupies my mind more than anything else, I believe it's the church, really. It's constantly on my mind, constantly waking me up in the night, in the morning, just invading my private space. And I would say after that, I think about my children in a concerning way, wondering, what they're doing, what's going to be their future. Did I forget to do this? What do I have to do next? So I would say those are the things. But really and truly, it's a lot going on, Bishop Scott, in a woman's mind. Too much to mention.
I am sure about that. Oh, yes. And I can applaud you ladies for being somewhat honest. Thank you much. Okay, let's begin with our questions. Okay, we are beginning with personal growth and development. Okay, it was said by someone we don't exactly know, but the quote is this: the only person that you should try to be better than is the person that you were yesterday. Oh, and that is so important. Well, question number one is this: what aspect of personal growth and development occupy the minds of women most frequently? And how do these aspirations shape their actions and their decisions? Okay, let's put that question first of all to Melinda.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, you know what? I tell you, in thinking about personal development, the things that are important to me, as I said, are God and all things that He has for my life. And I want to grow into who He made me to be, not growing into who I think I wanted to be or what the world tells me I can be or should be. And so in doing that, then I look at what does He tell me? What has He told me? And that's part of increasing my relationship with Him so I can better be who He wants me to be. And so outside of that, I'm not sure how to completely answer your question, because the most important part of the answer is whatever it is that He has for me. I want to learn and do more and be more in that. So He's my example. He puts people in my path who are examples and, support and guidance to go be more like Him and be more of who He created me to be. So when it comes to thinking about my personal development, then my personal development is in Him. That's really all that I can say. One thing that I just bought and just received is leadership like Christ. So Leader Like Christ is by A.W. Tozer. And so I had been thinking about, leadership books. You've got a whole personal development industry, right? But everybody does not teach you godly principles. And I don't want to learn something that will take me out of His will. So that's what I think about when it comes to personal development.
Melinda, let me ask you a question. Would you say that you're a strong woman?
I'm sorry?
Would you say that you're a strong woman?
I would say no and yes. So when I'm weak, then am I strong? And I can do all things through Christ. I can do anything. There's nothing that I cannot do because Jesus can do anything with me. So, but me in of myself, no. If you ask me, Melinda Brown, outside of Christ, I'm a very shy person. I'm a very self-conscious person. I would never think that I could do anything. But because I know whose I am, and He tells me that I can do anything because He can do anything, and He will do anything in me, then greater is He that is in me than he is in the world, telling me that I can't do. So I can do absolutely anything with Him. Does that answer the question?
So you're saying then that it's because of Christ than why
It is
you are
so stressful.
strong.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, I do hear you, young lady. Thank you much. Okay, Pastor Carmel King, same question. What aspects of personal growth and development occupy the minds of women most frequently, and how do these aspirations shape their actions and decisions?
Well, let me begin with that was a mouthful.
Mhm.
And thank you so much for Melinda for setting the groundwork for us. And when you think about that, personal growth development, and you hear the word development, so you know that it is something that is being increased or something that's being built upon. And it says personal growth. So it has to do with your own innate thoughts and your own innate feelings and your evaluations of who you are. And the question said, what do we think about most frequently? Like that's a trick question, a difficult one to answer, because I think that really depends upon where you are, how old you are, your cultural background, your religious background, even where you live, your social economic status, your level of education. Um, so much would be different. A different woman would answer that differently. But I would say, for me personally, and the persons that I believe that I'm close with, the thing that we most frequently want in our life is peace. We want to figure out how to have peace, how to have a some sort of emotional equilibrium, for lack of a better phrase. How are we able to maintain and seize control of our mind? The book of Romans says it, we will be not conformed to this world, by transformed by the renewal of our mind. And I believe more than anything else, we as women, we're looking for a mind shift, because many of us have been anything but ourselves, because we've been made to become something that we're don't even know, to be honest with you. And we've been molded and shaped into what is acceptable. And oftentimes you find yourself in your 30s or so, or sometimes even 40s, realizing that who you are is not even who you like. Because you're so pressured by society, and the quote that was used, the only person you should try to be better than is the person you were yesterday. But in reality, in society, there's so much pressure to be like the Joneses, and especially upon women, that you're supposed to be the super mom, the super sister, the super, pastor, the super everything, because that's expected. And I know that as women, there's so much responsibility upon us, because we are natural helpers, we're natural nurturers. So I think that what we as women at my particular stage, and the ones that I communicate with, we're really trying to shift our mindset into taking control of who we are, and that it would be genuine, it would be sincere to us, it would be we would know our own innate gifting, our own innate likes and dislikes, and just be able to build on that to become someone that is altruistic and giving and sharing, because I believe, as most women, we want to help, we want to care, we want to nurture others, but we want to do it from a place in which we ourselves are not left out. So I would say, just building upon ourselves and finding places that we're able to have that emotional equilibrium and sense of peace.
Okay, I understand you, but let me ask you this question. What really honestly fulfills Pastor Carmel King Law? What really fulfills you?
What makes me feel good, you mean?
Sure.
All right, Bishop Scott. I would say it depends. Like if I'm at work, I really feel good when an underdog becomes an overcomer. I feel good when those who are left out, those children who are in homes that are complicated, that they are able to overcome the challenges, overcome the statistics, and be something and be somebody. I would say at home, what really makes me happy is just to see the family together, to see us just loving on one another and it being natural, not anyone feeling compelled to be present, feeling compelled to interact with one another, that it comes natural. So I think what to be honest with you, I really love to help others. It really does make me feel good. I really love to encourage and motivate. I feel really good when I'm able to do that. And I would say that it took me a while to really hash through my feelings, because I know that as many women have a need to feel needed, and that can be very complex and can cause a lot of problems. So it's not really that I have a need to feel needed. It's more that I enjoy seeing others become the best that they can be. And I enjoy having a role in doing that. So I like to see people smile, see people happy.
Beautiful. Well, we are dealing with personal growth and development. And just one more question, daughter. How hard is it to make it to the top? As the woman you've been teaching for many, many years, you've made it. And as a pastor, okay, you've also climbed that ladder of success. But for ladies now that are coming in, doing their own thing, how difficult is it to make it to the top?
I'd say it's extremely difficult. Very, very difficult. We see it not throughout society. We see it right now in the things that are happening, the documentaries that they are making right now to show that, you know, women in the world tend to often have to compromise themselves in order to get certain positions and to stay in certain positions. Definitely you're overlooked. Definitely you are told that you cannot do this. You are told that this is a man's world. You are told that you know, you're responsible for your family, so you're made to feel guilty if you have to stay at work late or do long hours elsewhere, because you are made to feel that it is your responsibility to take care of the child. So I think to take care of the home, not just a child, the entire home is your responsibility as a woman. So I think it's very challenging for a woman to really know who they are and know what your unique giftings are, and to be able to just stay within that realm and get help. If I can say anything to a younger version of myself, is to get help. You do not have to do it all. You don't have to be the one, you know, doing the cooking and the cleaning and the ironing and the working. Accept help. And receiving help does not mean that you are not competent. It just means that you now realize that you cannot be everything to everyone. And it also is a signal or a sign of humility. So I would say, if I was to speak to especially women at this point, is definitely not to stretch ourselves too thin and to be willing to accept help.
Let me say this, that as a man listening to you ladies, I take my hat off to you, honestly, because being in the business world, doing this and that, and then have to come home and be a mother, be a wife, be a dishwasher, be a cleaning lady, okay, and other things too. Listen, you ladies are strong. So I applaud every single one of you. Okay, now let's put that first question to Nancy. And I know that she has a lot to say on this.
I'm probably not going to be as long as these other lovely ladies, but so, you know, with all of these questions, my days start, as these ladies stated, with God. I open my eyes and I offer my day up to him. I ask for guidance to, you know, for him to show me what my day will look like. And on this first question for personal growth and development in today's world, it's finding that balance between personal and professional demands on our lives. And most important for me is, you know, to be present when I'm in my personal mode as a wife, as a mother, as an aunt to my, you know, to my family, and then switching in my professional business is to focus, to motivate myself to be able to push beyond my limits so I can grow professionally and grow my business. And then seeing the value in all that each day is that, you know, I know at the end of the day that I have been of service to someone. That's what really fulfills me at the end of each day. And it's important to be able to find that balance and to be present when you're that mother and wife, and be present when you're in your professional situation. For example, I work from a home studio. So I have, you know, I may have my son that will ask me, oh, what are you doing today? Well, I'm working. You know, I'm in my professional mode, and I do have that little bit of guilt, but it's like, you know, I'm doing the right thing. I do take care of everybody in my family, and I just let it go and go about my business. But finding that balance, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of emotions that you have to deal with and to accept and to face in today's world. It's, you know, you have to be everything and everyone for everyone.
So, Nancy, let me put this question to you. How then do you empower yourself, and how do you empower other women that are around you?
So how I do that is by setting an example. Setting an example, you know, I have my systems in place. And I think at my age and from, you know, from experience and just supporting them in what they're doing, you know, someone younger than me, to let them know, you know, don't be nervous about starting your own business. Don't feel the guilt about starting your own business. Go for it. You know, you could do this, because I think we do suffer a lot of guilt through our lives as, you know, women, as parents. And you have to be strong, especially when, if you're in a career environment and you're up against, you know, other people. It could be with, you know, with big egos that I've experienced in the past. And knowing your worth, and consistently knowing your worth, and accepting yourself, and knowing that you're doing the best that you can, and you're a good person. And, you know, I just think setting that example and supporting and bringing other women up. I'm totally, you know, especially over, you know, at my age, it's like supporting other women and lifting them up and letting them know you could do this.
Okay, I hear you. Then let me ask you this question, young lady. How hard is it to make it to the top? And what are some of the struggles that you personally went through to make it to where you are now?
It's tough, but you know, I would consistently, whether it was meditating or praying on the situation, breaking it down, saying, okay, well, what part am I doing in this situation that may not be what they want me to be? And then understanding that I feel I'm doing a good job, and it's not on me, it's on them. And accepting, you know, myself as a person. You know, I had a situation where I had somebody working for me, and we worked for the chamber in our local town, and we had a president that was not very nice.
Mm.
And the woman that was working with me, she was a few years older than me. And he would, you know, like, she was always like very nervous around him. And we have to do it this way and that way. And if he tells us, you know, and I said, you know, I'm not going to change. She was changing herself to make him happy. And I said, I'm not going to change who I am to make him happy in when I feel I'm doing a good job. And, you know, it's just, you have to stand your ground. And if you feel that you're doing the right thing, you have to stand and defend yourself. And I'm not saying in a disrespectful way, just, you know, and I'm glad I never changed who I was for, to satisfy someone else's needs, what in my career or in my personal life.
Mhm. I hear you. Thank you very much. Just one more question that I'll put to you and also to Melinda. Who inspired you to be a leader and why?
Well, my grandmother raised me. I lost my parents very young. My grandmother raised me, and from when I was 18, I was on my own, but she was a very strong woman. She was in her 60s, and here she took a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old, and she raised us. She was very strict with us. But looking back, knowing how she raised us and the woman I am today, it's like like I said in our last conversation, I had like a guardian angel on me that always guarded me out of situations and raised me to be a strong woman. And that's who I attribute to, that has made me who I am today.
Amen. Thank God for grandmas.
Oh
There's
my
something
goodness.
special about a woman, honestly. Something special about a woman. Let's put that same question to Melinda.
Okay. My minister is definitely the person that I would have to say really made me a leader. She is amazing. She loves the Lord more than anyone I have ever met in my entire life. She has put the Lord first in all things. And in doing so, she just to watch her live Christ in front of me for the last 29 years has just been an amazing testimony to the goodness of the Lord, the strength of the Lord, the power of the Lord, the love, the mercy, the faithfulness. And so I have watched her talk about and live humility and what it looks like when you love God first and he tells you to love others, and what that actually looks like, even to the sacrifice of yourself to put someone else truly first, is what love is. That's what it looks like.
Yes.
And to live that and watch her do that. And the world obviously does not receive that fully, if at all. But what it truly looks like, oh man, there's nothing better than loving the Lord that way. So that is something that I want to have for myself, and to be able to love others the way that he would have me to love, so that you are loved. It's just to know what love feels like, because unfortunately, most people, when they love, it's actually selfish.
Mm.
It's selfish love. And if you don't love God, you can't even know truly what love is. And so that's the reason why I would give her all the glory for teaching me Christ through
Okay.
her.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let me not be partial, and let me ask that same question to Pastor Carmel King Long, woman of God. Who inspired you to be a leader and why?
Well, definitely, if we're talking about a leader in the kingdom, without a shadow of a doubt, that would definitely be my overseer, Dr. Ava Scobern. Definitely, she's the one who first saw anything in me that I did not even understand or even know existed, and just spoke over me, and just through my desire to assist her, to just follow through and just to be obedient, I was able to become a leader in the church. And I would say in the outside of that, it it I wouldn't really say that it could be put on one particular person. It's several people would tell you, to try to aspire to become something greater, whether it be an instructor or oftentimes coworkers, other people see it in you as well.
other people see it in you as well. And I'm sure that there was a multiplicity of people that did see that in you, woman of God. Okay, next we'll be dealing with relationships and connections. And it was said by Tony Robbins that the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. Okay, question number 2. How do women navigate the complexities of relationship and connections in their lives? And what significance do these interactions hold in their thoughts and priorities? Let's put that first of all to Pastor Carmel King Long.
All right. Well, here we go with these long questions again, Bishop Scott. I would say that
let's take
I would say my mentality on relationships are to live without a relationship is to not live at all. I think as women, life is centered around relationships, various relationships, and we go hard in relationships. We're very loyal people, and of course, first and foremost, our relationship with God, and that's the center of everything. And then if we have a spouse, if we happen to have one, that would be the next relationship. And then, of course, our girlfriends. I think, most women have at least a minimum of 2 very close female friends that they share everything with, and that they confide in, and it goes back and forth. And it's extremely important, those relationships to be able to connect with other people in that realm, to have a place where you feel you can trust and you feel trusted. You feel loved, unconditional. It's not that because I've heard it said that sometimes we look in other people what we think we will not be able to get in God. So we want that love from a human being because we can't really imagine or think about receiving it from God. But I think not. I think really and truly it mirrors what God is giving us, and it's just a duplication of it to receive it from another individual. So I think as women, we long to have just very trusting, loyal, long-lasting relationships, places where we can be quote unquote naked, where we can just communicate with each other in a higher level. And those connections are for a lifetime, I believe. And it's something that we frequently communicate with that person. We expect that relationship to last, and we're willing to make sacrifices to help those particular individuals. How does it shape our decisions? I think it does have a important role in our life, in our calendar, in the way we plan our time, that we make time for those individuals, and that we do it intentionally and deliberately, and we set goals for those relationships.
Okay, sounds good, woman of God. Then let me ask you a question. In your home relationship, okay, with your spouse, your children, and those that are in the house, how should a woman be treated in that type of relationship?
Well, that's a trick question. How should one be treated? I think to each his own. I think everyone is different. I believe that, of course, you would want your spouse to be a best friend. You would want your spouse to be a partner, for life, someone that you can communicate. But sometimes that may not necessarily be the case. But I think if that's not the case, that the two individuals are able to meet on common ground in a place where they're both comfortable and they both mutually respect one another, honor one another, and love one another. As we know, there's so many different ways in which people love, especially when you're dealing with men. Women tend to be more vocal and need to communicate ideas out loud, where men tend to, I'm not saying all men, but some men tend to keep things in, and they really don't want to have long discussions about your daily routine. You know, we could talk about 10 minutes about going to get a cup of coffee, how it tasted, what we put in it, you know, who was there when we were getting it, and so on and so forth. And they're just like cut to the chase. And you can tell they're not really engaged in what you're saying. You know, they're multitasking, and we women, we like people to pay attention when we're talking. We want you to stop what you're doing, look at us in our eyes, and have that communication. So I think with a husband especially, you have to be able to give and take. You have to be willing to make a compromise. And I believe that when you love someone, you want to see them happy. When you love someone, you're willing to make certain sacrifices to make sure that that person feels the love, and that person feels the value. And depending on the relationship, you know, we all have strengths and weaknesses. And if you are the one who is more emotionally, quote unquote, intelligent, I believe most women are, then you would be able to take the lie, per se, on that level, and be able to realize that they may not be able to meet you on that need, but you're able to overlook it because they're able to meet other needs. They're able to do other things that can value and support you. And you know, you can always lean on them. You know, they're always there if you're in trouble. You know, they do certain things. With the children, I think as a mother, you're always a mother. I mean, I have a 25-year-old, and she just moved like a few weeks ago, and I went and I helped her, and I was helping her with the room, and I'm thinking about getting her this and getting her that. So that relationship for me, I know some people nowadays, especially, their children are more on a friendly level, but I think I am always more like a mother, telling her you should do this and you should, and I have to really check myself and say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't. But then I say, no, I have to. Because if I don't tell her, then who's going to tell her? Who's going to make sure that she knows that these are the expectations for her life? You're laughing at me, but I'm going to stop there.
Once a mother, always a mother. And even when your children are in their 40s, their 50s, and you've lost all your teeth, you are still a mother. Okay, let's put that same question to Nancy. How do women navigate the complexities of relationships and connections in their lives? And what significance do these interactions hold in their thoughts and priorities?
Okay, get ready. So I've been married for 44 years.
Wow.
And every day I am so grateful. I've been with the same man. And it could be tough at times, you know, recognizing I think I have like a somewhat controlling personality. I'm an Aries, so it's, you know, I want to tell you what to do, how it should be done. So I always have to check myself and recognize that we're two different individuals, and to recognize not to take my husband for granted, accepting the differences, and I want him to accept my differences, and communication. I do struggle. I feel personally that I struggle with communication. And you know, I just feel that relationships, whether it's with your spouse, a partner, your children, a friend, it's a work in progress. And I think you just have to take each person and work through the differences just to keep, and everyone's their own individual self, and appreciate that and accept that. And being the independent woman that I am, I believe that has gotten me through the 44 years of marriage. And that's the other thing that I always have to check myself, because sometimes when my husband met me, I was on my own. I was an independent woman. And, you know, it was, so I do have to check myself to make sure that I am that loving wife and not that, you know, Miss Independent. So it's a lot of work. But then on the other hand, I'm so grateful because through these 44 years, your life hands you things that sometimes you think, how am I going to get through this? But, just being grateful, and we do get through them, and not getting up and saying, you know what, I'm not dealing with this, and just walking away. I think that makes, for a good relationship. And not only with your spouse, but again, with your children, it's the same thing, and communicating with adult children could be hard at times. So, it's a work in progress. But through all this is something where I'm always checking myself, as Pastor Carmel said, in my relationships. So, but through prayer, it always gets me through it. I mean, 44 years is a long time. Pastor Bishop, you're muted.
I'm sorry, please. I'm enjoying
I
this.
know you're laughing at the 44 years, but it's been
No.
44 years.
43 years. Me, 43 years, just a year behind you, young lady. Okay, so let me put this question to you. How should a woman then be treated in the business world? Okay, you own your own business. You're the CEO. How should you be treated? Now, we heard the perspective from Pastor Carmel King, how she expects to be treated in the home. Now, in the business world, how should you, being a woman, be treated? Should you be treated like a man? Should you demand respect? How should you be treated?
I don't demand respect, but as I would respect you, I would expect to be, I want to be respected and not looked at as a woman, or, less than, as I was in my career world. Here I was an executive director of an organization, and I was treated as a secretary. And I really struggled, getting past that, and not being respected. I mean, things were said to me that were inappropriate. And but I want to be respected, and I want people to view me as a professional woman. And yeah, so,
So then,
respect.
respect, that's important. So then, as a professional woman, okay, are you looking for compliments?
No, no, I don't need those compliments.
Okay, thank you much.
No.
Much. Okay,
I what I am looking for is to know that I've been of service to you. Um, I'm very involved in my community, and I love to know that I'm there to support, my community, different organizations, and even through my business, I'm supporting people. So I'm not that type of person that needs the pat on the back, because I know my worth within myself. So I don't need to have anyone else give that to me.
okay. Sounds good, woman of God. Thank you very much. Okay, let's put that same question to Melinda. How do women navigate the complexities of relationships and connections in their lives, and what significance do these interactions hold in their thoughts and priorities?
Well, as these ladies have said, there's each relationship, calls for different things, right? Ultimately, once again, everything comes back to the Lord for me, because he expects what I love someone, which is what he expects me to do. And, even love your enemy, right? So when I love someone, then let's look at my spouse. I'm divorced now, but I met my minister and came to Christ in my marriage. And so one of the things that God was teaching me was how to love, put him first. If I put him first and his needs first, and he puts me and my needs first, then everybody's needs are covered and nobody is selfish, right? And so in from what God has taught me, that's what he expects of, that spouse relationship, which makes perfect sense, right? On paper, at least, right? On paper, it sounds fantastic. But truly, if you, just like with what these ladies have said, if you take the person that you're married to, God made us different. We are different. We are created different. We are different, right? And so as a woman, my role is to love him and to honor him. And so not to emasculate him, not to, be all that. And, maybe he doesn't know how to be needed or be able, to find a place in my life for him to be a man. And so I have to love, honor, and respect him in that relationship, as he should love, honor, and respect me. So we are equal in that. That's one relationship. When it comes to children, I totally agree with Pastor Carmel, because, my oldest baby is 36 and he made me a grandmother, yet he will always be a 6-year-old baby in my head. But all three of my children are adults, and then to trying to figure out how to still be a parent, because I don't want to give up my parent hat to be their friend. We can be friendly. I don't have to be, spanking you. We're not spanking you at 36, but I'm still your mom. But my job is to make sure, as I have raised them, to make sure that they can stand alone without me, because I'm not going to be here forever, right? So if I've done my greatest job, then they can stand alone. And then I have to figure out how to have a place where I can be a guide delicately, delicately navigate that, but still let you be an adult, because we learn by failing, right? We teach them to hopefully fail in some things. Don't fail and make, a permanent mistake that's going to change your life, So I don't want you to fall off a cliff, but I have to give you some room to fall forward, right? You need to fail in order to grow, to learn, because life is an excellent teacher, unfortunately. And so I can't protect you from those lessons to completely. I try to do what I can, I think of it like almost like, bumper bowling, right? So God makes us stewards of our children, not, I think that's part of what I learned in being a grandmother, watching how, as a parent, God gave me this child who is the small person. They came as people. And so I have to bumper bowl them through life, and give them what God would expect me to give them, so that they can stand on their own and develop as the people God created them to be, versus me deciding, I'm going to create this child into whatever image I want them to be, right? They are who they are. They come that way. So I need to be able to help them to realize the fullness of whoever it is that God created them to be, and let that be okay, because God will take all things and work them for our good. So that will include all of those falling down, all of the scars, all of the things, but to let them know that, what, that's okay. It's all part of the deal. God has not failed you. God hasn't disappeared. He will allow things, and then, get up, let's go. There's a reason for it. Learn the lesson, repent where you need to, and learn the lesson, so you don't have to go and fall off of that same cliff again. You don't want to repeat the error, but you're going to have those. And so then try to figure out how to be that for my kids. And then I'm now a grandmother, as I said, and I'm the yes lady. So because I was able to raise my kids to have that wisdom, where they have sense. And my son is an excellent father. Great. I'm so glad that God blessed me to have a son who's an excellent father, because now I can say yes. I don't have to be the rational person to say no and give guidance, and I don't have to bumper bowl. I can just say yes. And if you want ice cream for breakfast, you can have it, because I'm the grandmother and I'm going to say yes, right? But if he was a terrible father, then I'd have to be responsible, right? I'd have to try to be that steward. But now I can just have fun. So there's that. When it comes to even in business and what I do, my goal is to help people see the world that God made. Change your life with travel, not just experience travel, not just go and see the world, see all the different cultures of people. If you go and you are in Venezuela, you just think about what's going on in the world today at the border, right? And how people here in the United States look at them and treat them. Well, you know what? If you had gone to Venezuela, or pick any of the places that they're coming from, Haiti or wherever, if you had been there, wouldn't you want to leave? This country is a country of immigrants, and we are great because of that. But if you went and you saw how, they actually love their kids just like I love my kids. They love their parents just like I love mine. They are professional and are doctors and are just like me. So then there isn't an otherizing if I can see you who you are. But if I never go anywhere, and all I know is this guy over here and this guy over here, and none of us have been anywhere, and it's just them and what they're trying to take from me, then I can't love them the way God would have me to. So it's my goal, even in my business, to show you how to go and see, go experience, go know, have your mind and heart expanded. Let God change you, because you have the opportunity and the blessing to know someone who doesn't look like you, who doesn't talk like you, right? Who maybe does different things than you. Their culture eats differently or whatever. If you see that, then they're not bad. Even if they do something different, it's not that different is wrong. It's just different. So what? So what? So then I can love them and not see them as an other the way people see them. And then, because it's travel and the world travels, make it your business. Let me show you how to financially change your life, not just yours, but to create a whole legacy of lifestyle of travel in your children. Because the earlier they go somewhere and see and experience, then they'll grow up seeing people just as people, their value and everything, instead of this other who's trying to take something from me. So that's, hopefully that answers your question.
I honestly wish we had more time to get into this, because there's a bath pool of knowledge in you, woman of God. And let me say this: if you did not tell me that you have a child 36, I would have thought that you were even younger than 36. Honestly,
Yes.
you ladies look fantastic. And I believe that is because you have a relationship with God, why you look so hot. I mean, beautiful.
Oh my gosh, Lord Jesus, please help me.
Oh, certainly good.
I tell you.
You mean you have a child, 36, and looking over at Nancy, she's been married for 44 years? Honestly, and Pastor Carmel King, you are all fantastic. I honestly wish that we had more time. And let me say this, that it's important in a relationship, that respect. And in the business world, respect. It's important at home to be treated like human and to treat others like human, and also in the business world. Not just that, but it's also important in the home to listen. In the business world, likewise, to listen. And don't forget